sprint, the time trial. It was the mountains on the horizon on the third day of the Amgen Tour of California between San Jose and Mount Diablo State Park. The climb itself coming at the very end of 108 miles or 175 kilometers. 128 riders. Oh, one rider not starting was Renze Janse van Rensburg of South Africa. The rest were all there. They were flagged away on a very, very hot day where temperatures would soar to almost 35 degrees Celsius. But Paul, it didn't stop a breakaway of 8 riders forming only 5 kilometres in.
No, they went over Mount Hamilton to start, but by the time they got to Livermore, Rob Squire was the first rider to go through there, take himself a few dollars to put into his back pocket. But the race was really very much all about the final climb of the day, the summit to Mount Diablo State Park. But a crash on the run in towards the finish took one of the riders from Bissell Development out, and he was having a hard time getting himself back into the main field. But the front end of the peloton was very much controlled by Team Sky, the team of Bradley Wiggins, the overall leader. But crashes galore because of the heat, and fatigue started to creep into the peloton.
Walking back to his bike and then getting back on it was Matthew Heyman, the former Commonwealth Games champion. But the riders were preoccupied at one stage over 6 minutes ahead when the slopes of Mount Diablo started. There was only 4 of the original 8 riders left. Then came an attack from the champion of Mexico, Luis Davila. He was going for gold with about 4 miles to go.
They started the climb with a good advantage of 2.5 minutes, but Team Sky wanted to show just how powerful they were on the world of international cycling. The attacks came thick and fast, and Rob Squire felt that he too had a good pair of legs. But again, the counter move coming from the 2-time Mexican champion Luis Davila, thinking that he was going to get the victory. But all of a sudden, in the shadows, was the yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins, wiping it all away.
Yes, just about 7 kilometres to the finish. The field were all up behind the breakaway. The field in quotations, because there was only about 20 of them left, all under the pressure of Team Sky. As attacks came, Carter Jones, the next one to be caught, and then as they approached the finish, it looked like the winning move might have been made by the man who finished second on this climb last year, Javier Acevedo, but Wiggins was having none of it.
He nullified all of the breakaways. A last move coming from Adam Yates, the British rider on Team Orica Green Edge, and it looks as if he's caught everybody by surprise. But coming out of the gap was another Australian rider, Rowan Dennis.
Rowan Dennis, 11th on this climb, losing the day by 44 seconds. Had started the day 44 seconds behind Bradley Wiggins overall. He was just about to reclaim 20 seconds of that overnight deficit as he got clear of the group to win only his second race as a professional rider. Chased home by the Portuguese rider Thiago Machado, and in third place was Lawson Craddock to retain the young white jersey of the race. But for Rowan Dennis, he'd made some gains over the jersey of Bradley Wiggins, who, although he'd had a brilliant day, still managed to lose 20 seconds.
Yes, but he retained the overall lead by 24 seconds as he moves into 2 flatter stages as the race will continue down the Pacific Coast Highway for the next 2 days before the next rendezvous with the mountains at the ski resort of Mountain High. But it was all about Rowan Dennis and Garmin Sharp today.
Big result for Team Garmin Sharp. The USA set up, and Rowan Dennis, an Australian, had given the victory and shown he's up for the fight in this event all the way to Los Angeles, where the race will finish on Sunday. Only the second time he'd been up to Mount Diablo summit, which plummets out at 3,800 feet, and Bradley Wiggins had retained his leader's yellow jersey, albeit by reduced margin. But he wasn't too worried about that. So the overall situation, Bradley Wiggins now leads Rowan Dennis by the reduced margin and back to 24 seconds, while Machado is third at minute 5. Lawson Craddock fourth at 1:21. He won the best young rider jersey last year. Peter Stettner lived up to his reputation today. He climbs up into 6th place overall. A good ride too from Matthew Boucher. Javier Acevedo now in 10th. 6 days in, and the Amgen Tour of California heading away from Santa Clarita to mountain high, 7,300 feet up in the ski area above Los Angeles. And it is a mountaintop finish. 6 riders getting away again very early on, including Tom Danielson.
Yes, after just 6 kilometres, Johan Esteban Chavez getting in the breakaway with Jack Bobridge, Chris Jones, David de la Cruz and Javier Mejias. No pressure at all on the shoulders of one man from Great Britain, Bradley Wiggins, but a few mechanical problems for Mark Cavendish, the ace sprinter.
Yes, Cavendish fell off. He collided with a teammate. He remounted, changed his bike and got back into the race. But this wasn't the day for the sprinters. This was a chance for the climbers to attack the yellow jersey. 1 kilometre to go out on the course. The man chipping away at the front of the climb as they went up Mount Emma at the 64 miles point was Chris Jones. He was winning all of the climbs out on the course. It would change before the end.
Yes, Team Sky very much in control. Lots of black and blue jerseys at the front end of the main field, controlling the tempo for their man Bradley Wiggins in the yellow jersey. Everybody really knew it would all come down to the final climb of the day. This 27-kilometre ascent of Mountain High Ski Resort.
In the parched resort area here, it's hard to imagine that Los Angeles, about 90 minutes car drive away, but this is one of the oldest ski resorts in California. The peloton now still under the escort of Sky, but under constant attacks from Team Garmin-Sharp. They had Danielson in the break, an attack there coming from Ben King.
Yes, the idea was to try and toughen up the race and weaken Team Sky, but at the front, real drama as the Colombian rider on Orica Green Edge, Esteban Chavez, decided he'd go clear.
Then the attack by the man who excelled in this race last year, Javier Acevedo. Another weakener for Garmin-Sharp to try and get at that yellow jersey of Bradley Wiggins. Wiggins, though, was marshalling everything. He was even bluffing, and eventually he was quite happy to see Peter Stettner start taking up the cudgel.
Yes, he was very happy to have his young teammate Joe Dombrowski up alongside him, but the attacks continued to come thick and fast. Peter Stettner looking to move up in the overall standings, while at the front of the race, a man who won the Tour de l'Avenir back in 2011, well, nobody could catch him.
First major professional win since he was signed up by the World Tour team, Orica Green Edge, the Australian setup, recognising talent. This young man of 24 coming clear for the biggest win of his young career and keeping Orica Green Edge the team of the moment around the world.
Yes, but behind, after this man had crossed the line to get himself a well-deserved victory, Tom Danielson was third. But watch what happens here as Bradley Wiggins keeps a very close eye on the British rider in front of him, Adam Yates. He puts a little bit more time between himself and his closest rivals. 2 more seconds over Rowan Dennis makes him solidly 30 seconds ahead at the top of the overall standings.
Wiggins, they'd hit him, he'd lived up to his reputation, he watched, he waited, and he even gained time at the finish.
Hi, I'm Kristen Klein. I'm the Executive Director of the Amgen Tour of California, and we're very excited to be celebrating our 10th anniversary. This year, once again, we will expand our women's race Empowered with SRAM. We will kick it off with a 3-day stage race, the first 2 days in South Lake Tahoe, the 3rd day in Sacramento, as well as an individual time trial in Big Bear Lake. This year's Amgen Tour of California features 18 teams and 144 riders. California's beautiful course travels over 700 miles, featuring flat, hilly, and mountain stages.
Stage 1, Sacramento will be an opportunity for sprinters to showcase themselves. We'll get an opportunity to race along the Sacramento River, then roll over towards Davis, open into the open fields and farmlands where we'll get a lot of crosswinds. It'll probably break up the group, but it's going to be a sprinter stage, so teams will fight hard to keep it together.
On the very first day in Sacramento last year, we saw an incredible sprint battle between Cavendish and Degenkolb, resulting in the race's smallest margin of victory. Fans will be treated to multiple circuits of men's and women's racing.
This year, Visit California is going to sponsor the sprint stages. So look for those green jerseys in the first 2 stages.
We're very excited to have Stage 2 of America's Greatest Race. We'll start in downtown Nevada City, which is known for the Nevada City Classic. We do a loop around town on that historic course. We have some wonderful foothill roads that are going to continue down through Grass Valley on down to Auburn, across the Forest Hill Bridge. Some of the most scenic riding on the West Coast, and I think the racers enjoy that.
It should be a good mix of mountains and then a flatter finish.
After Stage 1, the leader will be a sprinter, so the fight's going to be about sprint bonuses going into Lodi.
Lodi's a newcomer, and we're all very excited to see what they bring this year.
San Jose is truly honored to have the privilege of being the only city to host the Amgen Tour of California for 10 consecutive years, and we're so excited to be part of the 10-year anniversary celebration. We're going to have a really exciting course again this year, start in San Jose and finish in San Jose at the Santa Clara County Motorcycle Park on Metcalf Road, where the race also finished during the time trial in 2013.
Going up Mount Hamilton will be really hard.
Anytime you have a major descent coming down Mount Hamilton from the observatory before you kick into an uphill finish, again, that's going to be an epic, world-class stage.
The final climb is pretty steep, the last 500 meters, or I would say about 10%, so the time gaps are going to be tight. I see riders like Sagan, light sprinters, that can get over Mount Hamilton and catch back on, and a rider like myself.
Hello, I'm Brian Smith with Lexus. All of us at Lexus are proud to be the official vehicle sponsor of the 2015 Amgen Tour of California. It's the perfect stage to debut our all-new Lexus NX compact crossover as the lead vehicle during each stage of the tour. Lexus will present the King of the Mountain jersey at each stage of the race. And secondly, Lexus will award a new vehicle to the winner of both the men's and women's races.
Pismo Beach is lucky to host Stage 4 of the Amgen Tour of California, and will be starting again at the Pismo Pier in downtown Pismo Beach. They'll head in a new direction towards the southern part of the county, and then they will come back and go through an area where they'd been before, through Arroyo Grande, which again you'll experience vineyards and rolling hills. A very straight, flat course, very fast. We're excited that the race is going to start in Pismo Beach and finish in Avila, because those are 2 sites that are close together, and the spectators will benefit because they can make a day of experiencing the Amgen Tour of California.
My name is Andres Malavos. We're here in Santa Barbara for the Tour of California Stage 5. Watching Taylor Finney's victory last year was a real treat to witness. So Stage 5, leaving Santa Barbara and arriving in Santa Clarita, just under 100 miles.
You know, it's really uphill, believe it or not. It looks relatively flat, I think, probably on television coming from Santa Barbara, but we're actually at some level of elevation here. We're about 1,100 feet. We've seen some amazing finishes here in Santa Clarita. They come down to that finish line, neck and neck, major sprinters going across the line. We think it'll be a fabulous finish.
This is the first time we're hosting here in Big Bear Lake a time trial, and we're very, very excited about that. Spectators have the opportunity to see the pro women and the pro man. We'll have the team buses where all the spectators will have access to all of the activity that goes around the warm-up time. The time trial stage will start in the village, and then it will work its way to the North Shore through Fawnskin and back into the village.
Course is nice, it's good roads, rolling, pretty views, altogether a great course.
Coming off of Big Bear Boulevard, the riders will be turning right onto Pine Knot Marina, which is a jetty, and it'll be an actual overwater finish with a beautiful panoramic view. One of our mottos, it's aero at altitude. We are one of the highest sustained time trials here domestically in the United States.
I think the leader will definitely show himself in the time trial because you have to be able to do both in Tour of California, but Mount Baldy is a different beast.
The Queen stage begins at Citizens Business Bank Arena in Ontario.
The Baldy stage is kind of rough from the get-go. It jumps up Glendora Mountain Road, and then it's twisting and kind of unrelenting in the valley. Even when it's downhill, it's not easy, and there's just a lot of dudes fighting for position. And then you get to Baldy, and it just gets steeper and steeper.
The switchbacks are really, really steep, and as you come into the last couple kilometers, I mean, it kicks up into the 15% for quite a bit.
It doesn't get to be much harder than Baldy anywhere in the world.
This year's La Tap California will take place on the same day as the men's stage race, on Saturday, May 16th. Fans will have the opportunity to ride the course before the men hit the road.
You see it on TV when the riders are just riding into a sea of people and they're parting for them, and Baldy definitely has it, and it's a great experience, and I think the fans enjoy it too.
The final day of the Amgen Tour of California, as the 10th anniversary concludes, we will begin the day right here at LA Live, the home of AEG.
And we do 15, 20 miles before we hit the circuits here around the Rose Bowl. The course looks like it's pretty flat, a couple little rollers, and really fast, which plays into my strengths and our team's strengths. So a lot of the sprinters teams will be looking to gear up for this race.
Once again, the final day of the Amgen Tour of California will be live on NBC Network.
You know, having a finish of the Tour of California at the Rose Bowl, where you see so many iconic sports events occur, is really a fitting finish to such a major international competition.
I don't think there's a better connection between the greater well-being of people, community and business coming together.
The Amgen Tour of California is the reason to come to California in May. We'll see you here.
Race, the first 2 days in South Lake Tahoe, the third day in Sacramento, as well as an individual time trial in Big Bear Lake.
The 2015 Amgen Tour of
California with a clockwise 70-mile loop of beautiful Lake Tahoe, starting and finishing at Heavenly Mountain Resort.
One of the most beautiful places we'll see is Emerald Bay, and then after that we'll be traveling through Homewood, up to Tahoe City, around to Kings Beach, and then to Incline Village. And then they'll descend past Glenbrook through Cave Rock and around to Zephyr Cove Resort. At Zephyr Cove, we're about 5 miles from the finish of the race, and we should start to see some of the stronger teams set up their leader for an exciting finish.
I can imagine that there is a break going, like with the riders in it, and it will stay away even. Otherwise, a strong climber could attack on the last climb and make it to the finish.
Day 2 will also take place in South Lake Tahoe and is sure to be a crowd favorite. The stage will start and finish at Heavenly Mountain Resort, with riders tackling a 25-mile loop through beautiful forests. The terrain is undulating with 2 significant climbs on the course, including a steep climb on the run into the finish.
Yeah, I think it has everything in it, like technical, a bit of climbing, downhills. It's a really interesting course for me.
Stage 3 of the women's race, Empowered with SRAM, is a circuit race around the Sacramento State Capitol and coincides with the opening stage of the men's race. Once again, there will be an electric atmosphere in Sacramento, as fans will be treated to multiple circuits of men's and women's racing.
So later on in the week, 20 of the best TT riders of the women's peloton will compete in the Invitational TT at Big Bear Lake. It's a 15 miles TT, so 7 miles out, 7 miles back. It's a flat course, but it's at altitude as well, so it will be a hard race too.